Hi there, welcome to Tarot Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Cancer energy. I had done the Cancer reading, but apparently had problems with my microphone, so a different story must want to come out. So, like usual, we're going to do two rows. The top row I refer to as like high vibe Cancer energy, the bottom row a more worldly, shadowy Cancer energy. We all have free will and we can debate within ourselves. So in our high vibe nature, we might like to do life a little differently, but the bottom row can just represent our comfort zone. We don't really want to step out of our comfort zone. And it can also represent some of our fears and our insecurities and that we and other people deal with to different extremes. And the top row can also represent, besides our own high vibe nature, high vibe people in our life. The bottom row can represent our more worldly, shadowy, doing things the way we've always been doing it, and other people in our life who might like us to live our life like that, because that's how they live their life, you know? And at any stage of life, we can feel like we've kind of learned the lessons we needed to learn at that phase of life, and we face our fears and we move forward in life a little differently. And sometimes when one person or in the group are ready to kind of move forward in life a little differently, some other people aren't. And, that can cause problems in a relationship. So it's kind of interesting. The reason for the top row's reading is the Queen of Cups. The reason for the bottom row's reading is the Queen of Pentacles. So when we are aligned with our more emotionally intuitive nature in the Queen of Cups, it helps us overcome how we're more tempted in our more worldly nature to make our life more about the world. And then sometimes we can get in more mismatched relationships. One person, the feminine cards can talk about how we think and feel. One person can be more happy living their life, emotionally more invested in living life from their more worldly nature, more about making their life about the world or things they like to indulge in or themselves, or let's stay here and do life like this. Let's not listen to our intuition. And in high vibe, the Queen of Pentacles can be learning lessons. And some people went through a stage of life, and from the Nine of Swords to the Six of Swords, they let go of the Three of Swords. There was something, a way of living life and viewing life. The Three of Swords can be like past pain and heartbreak. It can just be you thought you were going down the right path in life and you could have been, but then it's like, I could keep doing that, but then I'm kind of not growing myself to my full potential. And if it's pain and heartbreak, or between the 9 and the 6 is the 3, which is Libra energy of what we think is just and fair. Did I think it was just and fair to live my life this way and be in this job, be in these friendships, live my life a certain way, think a certain way? Yeah, because that's where I was. But as I go through that cycle of life, hopefully, I learned lessons along the way. And I could, the Three of Swords comes after the Two of Swords, which can be, I was still in two minds about some things, or there's just things I hadn't even seen the truth of. And as I go through life, it helps me get more clear about what my truth is and my truth isn't. And if I listen to my intuition, and in high vibe Aquarius energy, I look at life from a higher perspective and put things in perspective and deal with my past pain and heartbreak. And I have a dream, and my dream isn't to keep repeating certain patterns and phases of life forever. I go on that journey to learn these lessons, and I offer truth and love and encouragement to people in my life. But then I want to keep moving forward, kind of shedding an old me to give birth to a new me. And hoping other people do that too, just like we shed being like a 15-year-old or an 18-year-old or a 21-year-old. We continue that process throughout our life. It's part of the growing emotionally process. And sometimes when some people are ready to do that, I think they would offer truth and love to people in their life. And some people in their life really have a lot of fear of doing that. Because in order for them to move forward kind of differently, life is about making these choices in our free will. And Maybe they'd have to look at life from a higher perspective, and maybe they'd have to have more hope and faith and belief in themselves or in others or in love. And maybe they have fear of doing that, or maybe they're fearful, if I were to go invest in the people or the things that I would find more maybe aligned with my truth from love or being more authentically myself, because high vibe energy is about being more independent. I do have to look at life from a higher perspective. I do have to have hope and faith and belief in myself. I'd have to listen to my heart and my intuition and believe it has my best interests, and believe that some people in my life who want to invest in me, that those people are telling the truth and that they're being just and fair, and that they have my best interest at heart. And some people aren't there yet. Some people may never get there. Nine of Swords is Gemini energy of our dualistic nature. Some people are like, I have a problem having hope and faith and belief in myself or in others or in love. I'm more emotionally invested in liking to live more from my mind than my heart. And I might like making my life in a shadowy Aquarius energy can be a little bit more about me or these things of the world. If I do love, I get hurt. If I get in friendships and relationships with people where, we get along well enough, but those people don't require me to do love, then I can't get hurt by love. But I also might not be emotionally invested in people who could seem like the dream life or relationship, but am I willing to be more independent of my fearful nature to grow and mature myself? And some people don't want to emotionally invest in people. Some people there's things that they want to invest in that they think, instead of doing love, maybe I could go invest in these other things, and I think that'll make me happy. Which again can be, I'll go indulge in things, or I'll make it just more about me, or I'll just make it more about money or materialism. And I think I'll be okay not doing love or staying in a career field, even though I might not love it, but it is good for my ego and my image and my status. And I don't know if I go do the things that I would really love to do, will I have the money and the status and the image, so sometimes people might decide to stay in certain situations until they feel they're either emotionally mature or feel more stable or grounded within themselves, or have the financial stability to then really go do some of the things that they love, right? But let's go look at the bottom row. We have the Hermit, the Ten of Swords, the Ace of Cups, the Empress, the Emperor, the King of Wands, and the Nine of Swords, and the Six of Swords. Well, for one thing, people could have, learning to love yourself, that can take many decades of your life to kind of get out of more codependent energy, because in our more codependent energy, we can look for other people to love us, and we haven't really learned to love ourselves. So we think that's the answer. And that could be people who are hiding. In the Ten of Swords, they haven't learned to love themselves. They're more loving, creative, inspired nature. Really could wish that they did, and loving and encouraging people in their life could wish that they did. But the Empress, again, can talk about how we think and feel, and the Empress and the Emperor are like a counterpart pair. And within ourselves, we can be like a bad mother, father to ourselves. We can belittle and berate ourselves. We can not love and believe in ourselves. We have free will in our Gemini energy. Both the 8, the 9, and the 10 of Swords are Gemini. I have the free will to align with hiding from loving and believing in myself, and instead I could backstab my more loving nature, and I could invest in not believing in myself, and I could go get in relationships with other people who are equally hiding. That's like shadowy hermit. I'm not ready to see the truth, and I haven't even maybe seen the truth, and I might have to go through some very painful life lessons to realize this doesn't quite work out for me the way that I want. And until, out of love for myself, I decide I'm not doing that anymore. And then we go within to figure out why we do that. Why don't I invest in myself? Why don't I love myself? Why do I could be hiding that there were all these things maybe in my past that made me feel backstabbed and betrayed. Why do I keep investing more in that, which, can be like a truth of things that could have happened? But why don't I choose to love and believe in myself and take inspired action that just because some things could have happened in my life, from the 10 down to the 9, am I going to let that keep being the truth that drives me and the decisions that I make, or my worth and value, or what I think I believe I deserve? And when we get so tired of repeating an old pattern, maybe because we haven't learned to love and believe in ourselves, we'll keep being in relationships with people who are happy we feel that way. And those people want us to keep feeling that way, so we'll keep staying in friendship and relationship or at that job. And if you're someone, though, who can be loving and encouraging and supportive to others, trying to help other people free themselves from things that manipulate them, sometimes we can have a hard time understanding that everybody does have free will. But in order to free yourself, again, from the 10 down to the 9, you have to let go of some truth. Nope. I'm going to hide. I get backstabbed doing love. I'm not going to do love. So I'm going to keep staying here, backstabbing myself, rejecting love, not loving myself, not believing I deserve love. I'm going to go invest in all these other things that I'm sure will make me happy. And they could do that all their life. So then, out of love for ourself, we have to realize, the 6 of Swords moves away from the 5 of Swords, and the 5s talk about change. The only person I can change is me. I can offer truth, love, and encouragement to other people, but I can't make them change. I can't make them see the truth of whatever it is that manipulates them. Their own fear, insecurity, lust, greed, pride, ego. I can't make other people change. So, do I want to keep doing this or do I not? And if I decide I don't, because I have a dream I want to bring into reality, I would like them to come with me, but I can't make them work through their 3 of Swords, their past pain and heartbreak, their fears, their insecurities, or they might think certain ways of conducting themselves in a relationship is just and fair. I don't agree with that. How we harness our Libra energy is different. How we harness our Gemini, our Virgo, our Aries, our Aquarius, our Taurus, our philosophy of life and what we think is just and fair, and the dreams that we had for our life and the truth that we have that kind of ultimately drives and motivates us is different. And I'm not going to keep staying in heartbreak or in situations with people who are hurtful or unkind or who don't want to do love. I do want to do love. And this whole experience could have made me start to realize I do deserve love. Maybe before, I could have had this philosophy of life, because I view the Queen of Pentacles as Taurus energy. We'll all repeat certain patterns until we kind of see how that philosophy of life, way of viewing ourselves, way of viewing others, what we think we deserve, what we think we don't deserve, or thinking, isn't it about trying to change other people? Well, no, because that's kind of not respecting they have their own free will. I mean, do you want everybody to get in a relationship with you and try to change you? No. But, sometimes if we're more stable, balanced, loving, encouraging, or supportive, we can oh my goodness, I'm going to go try to help free these people from things that manipulate them. Well, you could do some things that could help them free themselves from some things that manipulate them. But we can't make people have a completely different philosophy of life, of how they view life. And that can be a more high vibe Taurus, Cancer, Aquarius way of viewing life. I do believe in love. I do believe that if we were to look at life from a higher perspective and put things in perspective and have more hope and faith and belief, that we can heal from past pain and heartbreak, and we can free ourselves from things that manipulate us. And I don't have to let my ego or the past or my fear or the world or other people manipulate me. I want to be free to live my more authentic life, and I believe I am capable of that. And some people, for one, have no interest. Again, in their free will of their Gemini nature, I don't want to do love. I might want to hide from love all my life for whatever reasons I have. And in my free will, I could have just decided, hey, you want to do love, you do love. Me, I'm going to hide that I'm more about me and my self-protective nature, my defensive nature, or I am very sure these things I go make my life about, other than a deep, meaningful, emotionally mature, loving relationship, I think those things will make me happy. So you do you, and I'm going to do me. And we get in these relationships, and one person's trying to move it this way, the other person's trying to move it that way. We can only have our dream come into reality if we're operating from the same truth. And some people, they don't look at life from a higher perspective. I don't think there's any higher truth or justice to aspire to. Maybe in my Libra, Aquarius, Gemini, Taurus, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces nature. I think, we live on this planet. That's what I'm motivated and inspired by. The world tells me if I invest in making myself have a certain status, image, or power, influence, or it's more about me, or it's more about these other things, I'll look really victorious and successful. And that's what the world says will make me happy. And some of those people just haven't realized that all those things they could go indulge in or they make their life about. We as human beings, yes, we all kind of want to go indulge in some of those things and have some of those things. But other people have kind of been illuminated to the truth that love is what makes it all worthwhile. Being in a job you hate, but because that job pays you really well and you have a certain status or image, is like, hey, if you can stay in a job like that and it works for you, then you do that. Some other people are like, oh my God, I can't keep working here anymore. We all have our different kind of tolerance levels of what we are and are not willing to sacrifice and put up with. And some people are willing, have a shadowy Taurus philosophy of a relationship, which anyone can have in their own Taurus energy within themselves, is some people think whoever has more of the status, the ego, the image, the looks, whatever it is that people value, that other people want, well, that person should be indulged. And if I have those things, I should be indulged. It's more about me. And you might have your dreams, but, you should make it more about me. Or make it more, stay in the relationship more with me because of these things or status or image or whatever. I don't want to do life differently. And I guess if you have fear that you can't manifest your dreams into reality, then I guess you'll invest to do it my way. It might not be based on love. It might be more about the status, the image, or a fear, or a codependency. But I guess if you don't love and believe in yourself, then I guess we're going to do it this way, aren't we? And employers can act like that to employees. Friends can act that way to friends. And relationship partners can act that way to relationship partners. And shadowy energy can be just kind of stubborn and prideful. I am unwilling to look at life from any other perspective. I would have to let go of some truth that I have about how I think is okay to get along in relationships. And you want me to let go of that truth to move forward with you differently. That's not how I view life. So I'm willing to let you go And if you want to leave, you can leave. This is my truth. And then they want to keep moving forward the way they live their life. And if we know some people who we think, we wish they were more just, fair, balanced, loving. We wish they could be free of things that manipulate them, whether it's the world, the ego, fear, codependency, whatever. I can't keep living my life like that. And that's when people become inspired to not give up their dream. I get out of my ego. I accept the truth that your truth is different, how you want to move forward and what you want to invest your time, energy, and effort into and is different. Your dream is different. And I'm not willing to give up my dream to have the status, the ego, the image, or keep indulging in whatever I could be indulging in, because if I keep doing that, my dream's not going to come into reality, and I see the truth of it. And some people have already went through that. Some people could be going through it. Some people might go through it in the future. Some people always get there, and then it's like, and then they go back to the beginning and reject that opportunity, and they go back and repeat the whole pattern over again. And they could do that with the same people in their life. Like if we've had some people in shadow, these cards here can talk about people who think they should be indulged in a relationship. I don't want to have to grow up. I don't want to have to mature myself. You used to indulge me. I want you to keep indulging me. And then they might do better for a while, but then they go back and they repeat these old patterns. And then the people they're in a relationship are like, oh my gosh, I thought this time they'd really changed. And, oh, well, maybe they'll change. And, they repeat the pattern all over with them too. And there can come a point in time, the King of Wands is like fire sign energy, so is the Aries, the Emperor, that I'm more inspired to love and believe in myself and what I believe is possible than wanting to keep repeating this pattern. How many times am I going to get backstabbed or keep backstabbing myself until I see the truth? The only person I can change is me, and then high vibe energy is being a good leader in the world. We might know some people, just like we have been there, where we can have things or people or fear or whatever that manipulates us. Some people said, you know what, though I have love for you, I'm not going to keep repeating this pattern. I'm going to stand up for my truth. And I'm not going to keep letting these things manipulate me. And I'm going to invest. I'm going to take the lessons I've learned, harnessing this energy in a high vibe way. And when someone's holding one pentacle, it means they've seen the truth. And Virgo gives them the truth. They did this inner work within themselves. I can have love for people, and people maybe could have love for me, don't have love for me, don't take action on their love for me out of whatever reason. I accept that. I wish you love, but I'm going to give birth to making a decision to be inspired to believe in myself and stand up for what I believe in. And high vibe Taurus is, I'm going to walk my talk and my truth, and you can walk your talk and your truth. And it's different. So I'm going to emotionally detach in the Scorpio death card from love. Love for myself and love for you. If this isn't your truth, okay. But that's not my truth. So it's from an energy of love that we're able to work through those issues and accept that everybody is where they're at on their emotional maturity level, their bossy nature, their controlling nature, what they're consumed with, what they think is just and fair. Everybody has the free will to live their life the way they want, and there'll just be natural consequences that play out from certain decisions that we make. If we were to think of different decisions we made, say, when we were 15 and 18 and 21, we could have made some of those decisions. We faced some of the natural consequences. Some other people didn't make those decisions they didn't have to face those kind of consequences, right? And, that's kind of in high vibe Aquarius. I believe there is a higher truth and justice at play in the world. I'm not the boss and it's not all about me. And even if I'm a just, fair, loving, nurturing, supportive person, doesn't mean everyone's going to like me, doesn't mean everybody's going to work with me in a just and fair way. And I have to accept the truth of that. And I wish them peace, but to accept the truth when people don't want to work together, and I have learned, hopefully, during this experience, how to love myself, walk the talk, act with character and integrity and truth and love. And I offer other people truth and love. And when I see that's not their truth, I wish them peace and I move on. And the older we get, the better we get at that. Start a new job, meet some people, people are acting whatever way. It's like, yep, thanks for letting me know who you are. I'm going to keep my distance. And some of those people are like, what? Oh my God, it's like I just met you and you're already like not wanting anything. You seem to like have seen the truth. And you seem right away to be like, oh, thank you. Moving on. It's like, well, shit. Usually people give me a lot of chances. It's like, yeah, I've already been there and done that. And I probably already have people in my life that are people that, could be friend, family, adult child, brother, sister, mom, dad, coworkers. I got enough people in my life that I actively have to engage with more for whatever reason. I don't need to bring more people into my life that are in that energy. So now as I meet new people and I see that's kind of who they are, I just wish them peace. You do you. I'm going to keep moving on. And I'm going to focus more on the people in my life who do seem to work together with me more cooperatively in a more emotionally mature, loving, just, fair way. And the people who might be more fearful, more bossy, more controlling, more about themselves, consumed with things they want to indulge in or being indulged, I'm going to let them hang out with whoever they want to, needless, and they are going to. And the Ten of Wands in reverse is like, it's kind of like the flow of life of truth and love and justice and fairness is going this direction. But because we didn't want to leave some people behind in the Ten of Wands, we kept more focused. Instead of going that way and moving forward, we kept more focused on people who were in dead energy. Or more focused on relationships in our life that didn't work out the way we wanted. I have the choice, and again, the feminine figures in tarot can talk about how we think and feel, male or female. I can stay more focused on the things of the past that didn't work out the way I wanted, or I can do this work to offer, just offering peace, love, and compassion, looking at life from a higher perspective. Everybody has their issues. Everybody has their problems. Some of those people weren't just and fair, weren't loving, were bossy, were controlling, were hurtful, were unkind, whatever. I'm not going to let those people keep having that much power and authority in my life, regardless of who they were. Even if they were my mom or my dad or people I looked up to and admired. Somewhere along the way, they showed me that we kind of view life differently. And that's okay. And if they have some of those shadowy traits or characteristics or whatever, their life will play out. Their life did play out. Probably not growing and maturing themselves to be in more deep, meaningful relationships. I also view the Queen of Cups as Scorpio energy, which is about deep, meaningful relationships. And believing in yourself and believing in your dreams. And some other people in our life never worked through the things that manipulated them. And then that they in turn acted the way they acted and chose the things they chose. They had the free will at any time to work through those issues also. I have the free will to work through those issues. Or I can keep blaming all these things in my life in the past and letting it keep me stuck, focusing more on the past and never putting things in perspective and seeing the truth of it to free myself from it. Repeating generational curses, like, I'm not going to do that anymore. So I'm putting an end, and when cards are in reverse here, it can also mean extremes. So I'm no longer going to emotionally invest time, energy, and effort into ways of being that are really immature, people who are immature, where I do all the work and effort, or people who try to overwhelm me, people who aren't offering me love and encouragement, or aligning with that nature within myself. I'm no longer, the devil card looks just like the lover's card, except that the people have chains and shackles on them and there's a devil there instead of an angel, which can be codependent, kind of abusive relationship, using the love that people have to try to manipulate or control them. I'm done being in more codependent, toxic, hurtful, unkind, unjust, unfair, bossy, controlling, whatever type of energy. And I'm not going to let my more worldly nature of want for these things or my own codependent energy keep manipulating me. In the Fool in reverse, I'm not going to keep repeating these old patterns over and over. And I'm not going to keep staying in relationships with people who keep repeating certain patterns over and over. I am not going to keep letting go of, in the Tower card, loving and believing in myself. And we can be in relationships with people who haven't learned to love and believe in themselves. They don't want us to love and believe in ourselves. If they make their life in shadowy Taurus more about conforming to the world, and that's what they've decided, I'm done staying in an upside down foundation. It's supposed to be about love and believing in yourself and believing in your dreams, not making your life conforming to the world. The devil wants us to make our life all about these things of the world. Make that how we define our worth and value. Be more codependent. Stay in the relationships more for the ego and the image, and let our more emotionally mature potential that we could grow into, let that go. Ignore high vibe energy of love, let that go. You don't have to do that. That would require you to quit being more about indulging yourself and looking at life from a higher perspective. You don't have to do that. Just make your life about these things of the world. You'll be happy. You'll feel better. But we don't emotionally grow and mature ourselves. And we settle for a more worldly dream. High vibe energy, represented by God at the big picture, wants us to give birth to new things. Shadowy energy, represented by the devil, doesn't want us to give birth to new things. And then some people in our life, some people want us to love and believe in ourselves, aren't trying to manipulate and control us. Other people are. Are we going to keep investing in what's dead? And other people who don't want to grow and heal and mature themselves? No interest? Dead? No, let's just keep doing this. I want to keep doing this. Some of those people that are like that are stressed out because they've had some loving, nurturing people in their life. Some of those loving, nurturing people are keeping their distance from them and are emotionally detaching from them. Because shadowy energy, like the devil, that's within everybody, well, I want to be like this, and how about you be like that, and we be in a relationship? That works for me. I'd be happy to keep staying in a relationship with you. I want to keep moving forward like this, and how about you be like that? I think that sounds great. This is like a dream come true. Well, yeah, it's a dream come true for them, because they'd be in relationships with people who aren't like them. Well, I know, that's great. You're not going to be like immature and bossy and controlling and hurtful and unkind and try to manipulate and control me and be more about yourself, right? Well, no, I've kind of tempered my more ego nature. I'm more motivated and inspired to offer people truth and love, hoping they in turn are motivated by that. That's great. You keep being like that, I'll keep being like this. This is great. Until the high vibe people in their life are like, I'm done. I have offered you love, truth, justice, been inspiring and being balanced, and put a lot of work and effort trying to bring this dream to come into reality. But I see that's not your truth. So I wish you peace and love. You go do you. I'm going to go do me. And no longer feeling overwhelmed, no longer in an abusive or toxic or unhealthy, imbalanced or controlling, kind of immature, unstable, ungrounded relationship. Out of love for yourself. And, if anybody wants to move forward with me in that energy, they can, but they have had to do this work within themselves. They also had to learn to offer love to either living more from their mind than their heart, hiding their more emotional nature, their loving nature, work through issues from their past, and they need to emotionally detach from that. And they need to see the truth of why, not just so I can hide it. And that's whenever we're living our life, there's people in the world who really are more aligned with themselves, the world, lust, greed, fear, insecurity, wanting to try to control things, that try to present themselves as a more high vibrational person. I'm dead. You're aligned with truth and love and justice and fairness. I want to come be in a relationship with you. I let go of these things. But why did they let go of those things? Maybe just because the people they tried to hang out with that were more on the same page as them, some of those people could have left. But that's the truth, though, still of who they are. My truth isn't your truth, but because this didn't work out the way I wanted, I decided maybe I'll go invest in someone that their truth isn't my truth. Maybe the other people who really are more aligned with my truth, then they'll be stressed out that I move forward with someone who seems more just and fair and loving, and then maybe that person will do what I want them to do. And then if they come towards me, sorry, I'm going to end the relationship with you because this really is the truth of who I am. So if you know people who are more manipulative, more materialistic, more about the ego and the image, like to live more from their mind than their heart, could be a little more superficial and shallow, not really a deep, meaningful person, lacks some self-awareness and self-insight. You're emotionally detaching from those people, and it does take time. It's a process. In our Scorpio nature, we're emotionally complex human beings. It's confusing. We can have a lot of contradictory thoughts towards people. But I'm going to drop the burden. I'm going to drop the toxic relationships. I'm not going to repeat old patterns. And I'm not going to let anyone who is being unjust, unfair, unloving, unkind, rejecting, I'm not going to let any of that destabilize me. I accept the truth. There can be people in my life I wish would want to move forward with me in this way. If they're not, I believe that God wanted me to see the truth. And I didn't want to see the truth. But the truth could have become very evident that people are driven and motivated to be in different friendships, relationships, indulge themselves in different things. God knows I have a dream. And I'm not going to settle for less than I deserve. And some of the shadowy people, because they're not willing to do love, or they're not willing to be more authentic, because high vibe energy is more authentic, don't want to be more independent from things that make them feel safe and secure, or things or people they indulge in to make themselves feel better, or people they let manipulate them. They could be hiding that they backstabbed loving people and those people left. They could have moved forward in something else and are moving forward with something else. They could be hiding. They maybe don't even want to be in a relationship with some of those people or love those people. But because their pride, their ego, their want for these things of the world, or it's most important for it to be more about them, and if other people wouldn't let them be bossy and controlling or immature or hurtful and kind, they didn't move forward with the loving people, and instead they're in relationships with people who are willing to be in a relationship with them, and those people will stay in a relationship with them until those people see the truth. Some people are very good at hiding the truth of who they are. You know, talking about Cancer energy, some people present themselves as very emotionally nurturing, loving family people. You should be my friend, you should date me, you should work here, you should marry me. And that's why, and they can actually kind of like be that way. So that's why you could say in a friendship or relationship with them for a long time. And you could work through quite a few things because there's a lot of things to work out in a relationship. You know, the kind of the right mix of, you know, just like you can meet lots of people, but who becomes a best friend and who is more of an acquaintance and a friend, you know? Finding someone where it's really more like a best friend is different than just people who are friends. Well, if it's a romantic relationship, there could have been a lot of things about it that you could have been compatible on in a lot of ways. You know, different things you're motivated and inspired by, not having certain toxic or shadowy habits or behaviors, you know, kind of seeming like, wow, I kind of met someone who's kind of on the same page as me. But one person could be, again, it's more like a strategy, and they can enjoy like everybody else being in relationships, but they, you know, you don't find out till quite further down the road with people that they're kind of hiding. They really don't want to do love. I like being in a relationship. I like enjoying the relationship. You know, I want these things that other people have in the world, and I want to look like I have what other people, and that I look victorious and successful. But they're always afraid that the people that they're in a relationship with won't think it's just and fair to keep living more from their mind than their heart, and kind of see through the illusion that they either really aren't aligned with their more loving nature of hope and faith and belief and love. Or that they really are, it is more about the ego and the image and the status, and they're always afraid that the other people will see the truth, that that is really more what drives and motivates them, and they can enjoy the relationship, but don't really want to more authentically invest in it, where, you know, they got skin in the game emotionally. And eventually other people see the truth of it, and there's love there. There could be family there, children. The king and queen of pentacles are the only married through the deck. But then you kind of realize that the other person is more about the superficial and shallow and kind of indulging themselves in the relationship, and they could put in work and effort, but you feel like sexually it's more like indulging in it than love. And then they want you to give up your dream of being in a more deep, meaningful, authentic, loving relationship and settle for the illusion. They're okay with the illusion. Well, yeah, and again, it's easier for them to stay in it because they have someone who's being authentic and loving and nurturing, and you're in a relationship with their false person, their cardboard cutout person. Their more authentic nature just looks out from the eyeballs, but doesn't really get to come out to play in the world. And so again, a lot of things can be worked through, but having more hope and faith and belief in themselves or in others and in love, no, that's the danger zone. I'm not going there. And some of those people, because they so much want these things in the world, which we all do, They thought you wouldn't love and believe in yourself enough to stand up for yourself, kind of. So the kings can talk about, or the masculine figures can talk about action that we're taking. High vibe people stand up. They take action in their 3D nature, represented by the masculine cards, to stand up for their more emotionally loving, nurturing nature and their truth. And it can be really hard because there's people in your life, the Empress can represent love, like a mother's love, people that you viewed as loving. And they could have been a loving, nurturing person in your life. It's just that they're more motivated and inspired not to do love. That is the one thing that stops them from the dream really coming into reality. And some people said that's too high a price to pay. And I'm willing to give up some of these things of the world, quit being overwhelmed by the world, and letting that be what more drives and motivates me. That is not my truth, the foundation I operate from. And I believe that the divine doesn't want me to live a life of illusion. That I do want more deep, meaningful relationships. And so I am willing to detach from these things or people and go invest in loving and believing in myself and in my dreams and investing in other people who treat me in a just and fair and loving way. And the people who don't, will let them do that with someone else. And some of those people know that you love them, but you're not willing to keep putting up with bullshit. And then they have to wonder, why do I keep letting whatever it is that manipulate me? But some of those people are too afraid of standing up for themselves and their truth to become independent of things and people in their life that they could love, to be independent of them and quit being overwhelmed by people in their life too that they could love. But those people too could try to manipulate them, control them. They've kind of let those people or things, their lust, their greed, their pride and ego, manipulate them. And, whenever we let those things or people manipulate us, there's kind of a truth in there within ourselves that makes us align with that. And until we're willing to kind of quit being overwhelmed, quit being in more codependent energy, letting our want for these things manipulate us, or just being in more codependent energy, we're going to keep doing it. And some people are like, I'm done. So, what's coming out for some of the high vibe people? And some people, they're in you can have friendships and relationships and jobs. This could be other people in the situation. It could be other people who kind of want to come back into your life. New people who start, whatever it is, come into the neighborhood. I'm going to offer people truth and love. And I'm going to not get up in my head about it. I'm going to listen to my intuition. And if people seem to be more shadowy or more any of these things, I'm going to wish them peace. I'm going to keep trucking. I can still be a loving and encouraging person in people's lives, but I'm going to keep my distance. And the only people that are more going to be in a more involved relationship with me, like some of the people that are in my life, are other people that have kind of been enlightened to the truth that if you're going to be in a romantic relationship, it should be because of love, not for some other reason. Of how it benefits you to indulge yourself in, good for the ego or the image or the status. People have to be willing to do love, or they can create that kind of relationship with someone else. What's coming up 4, and your own shadow nature is always trying to stop you. There will always be other shadowy people in the world who want to be the next person to indulge in a friendship or relationship with you. And it's like, I'm only going to get in a more involved relationship with people who have healed from past pain and heartbreak and more self-learning beliefs and kind of detached from their more worldly view of life to do love. Which is respecting each other as individuals. You have your dreams and aspirations and unique talent, skills, and interests. I have my dreams and aspirations, my own unique talents and interests. Mine aren't more important than yours, and it's to be loving and encouraging of each other to inspire each other to grow to their full potential. But the more shadowy people in our life didn't want us to do that, because then we'd be moving forward in like a different energy than they're in, and they could have fear of believing in themselves, or again, that they'd kind of have to stand up for themselves to their own shadow nature and other kind of more shadowy people in their life that kind of don't maybe respect them as their own individual. And it can be like, you're supposed to conform like we do, and you're supposed to live life like we do, and you're not supposed to, we don't like those people you're hanging out with. Kind of makes you think we shouldn't be able to manipulate and control you the way we do, or you seem to be thinking different. You don't seem to want to be in friendship and relationship and make your life about these things, and that's what we make our life about. What's coming up for the high vibe people? The King of Pentacles. Why? Because of the Page of Swords. You know, the Page of Swords can also represent our own inner child nature in our air sign energy of Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini. What I think is just and fair, I have a dream and my truth. And my truth is, I do look at life from a higher perspective. I do have hope and faith and belief and love. And that's what I'm going to invest time, energy, and effort into, and get balance within myself, the Queen of Pentacles to the King of Pentacles, and stand up for myself and what I believe in, and invest in myself to grow and mature myself. And also, I view the King of Pentacles as Capricorn energy, which the devil is also. I can align with emotionally my more worldly nature and make my life more about these superficial things, or I really emotionally invest in growing and maturing myself to free myself from things that manipulate me, and I really am who I say I am. And it's not creating an illusion like, look at me and what I look like and what I wear and how much money I have or how much social clout or whatever I've got, you know? That's why people should be in a relationship with me. No, I want people to be in a relationship with me not for those reasons. And other people, that's what they're counting on. They're using all those things that they have to try to get people to get in a relationship with them. But they aren't who they say they are. They haven't freed themselves from things that manipulate them. And they're not more emotionally mature. They look like they are. They have status or image or power or influence or social clout or attractive or charming or look like they got justice in the world. But if you're not someone who's authentically driven by love and you get in relationships with people for some other reason, why are you in it? Is this going to make me look victorious enough? Is this going to make me look like a shining star? Are people going to look up and admire me? Am I going to have enough status or image or money? Are these people going to indulge me enough? Am I going to be able to control and manipulate these people enough? And other people have no interest in trying to control and manipulate people or make it all about them. They're being authentic, and they want to be in a relationship with other people who are authentic, where they can let their more hopeful, believing, loving nature out to play with people in their life who they don't feel will abuse that and try to take advantage of it. And I think as you keep moving forward in that energy, other people are going to see the truth. Everybody can look out at the world and we can see, well, those people are doing this and those people are doing that. And then those people have the free will to decide what kind of people they want to invest in. And the people who are more balanced within themselves, and also the water signs offset the earth signs. The people who are more balanced within themselves, their worldly nature and their emotional nature, are the people who are more willing to speak the truth and defend you and work together with other people who are in that energy. And the people who still are more about creating the illusion they are who they say they are, but they're more tipped in favor of being about themselves or the world, they're probably going to keep living their life like that. And what's coming up for those people that they might not see coming? For some of you, you're going to be, you could have just gotten out of a bad work situation to get in a better work situation. Could have gotten out, distanced yourself from some friendships or relationships with people. Defending more of the people in your life who are more loving and nurturing. And you'll be meeting more people that are more on that page. You know, we quit investing our time, energy, and effort into people who their truth isn't our truth. It frees us up to go invest our time, energy, and effort into people who are more aligned with our truth. So what's coming up for the more shadowy people that they might not see coming? You know, we all have lessons to learn, and we can kind of drive our life off into the ditch because we make that so important. So again, you can be a very loving person, but kind of tipped out of balance where, well, isn't that it? Don't you be loving and encouraging and loving and encouraging and loving and encouraging? Well, if other people aren't reciprocating, you're indulging someone in poor behavior, and you're kind of indulging poor behavior in yourself. To know that you deserve justice and fairness, and love is to be just and fair, and people should be taking action in that truth if that's the truth of who they really are. And if they're not taking action from the way they try to present themselves as being, then we get out of our ego about it, we quit indulging them, and we stand up for what it really means to stand up for what's just and fair, and they're not. And you see it. The Page of Cups. Why? Because of the Chariot. So the people who emotionally, in all three of their water sign energies of Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio, and in their Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini, those people are going to distance themselves from these people. Here we have an end to love. Earth sign, air sign, and fire sign, and air sign. No love. The truth of them isn't, and some people haven't emotionally invested in themselves. They didn't think that was worth investing in. It was unimportant. I can just use my emotions more manipulatively. So they aren't people. Scorpio can be about exploring the mysteries of life. Well, we're emotionally complex human beings. And some people decided, nope, I'm not doing that. That's too confusing. It's too much work. I'll just create the illusion I'm that type of person, harnessing this energy in a shadowy way. And then I'll go out in the world and try to present myself like I really am motivated and inspired by love when I'm not. The more high vibrational people in their life are going to leave. And then they're stressed out because it's like, but I have these certain things, or I look this certain way. Why didn't those people want to stay in a relationship with me? Because they want to be in more, the Chariot as Cancer energy is about balance. They want, can they love people and want to move forward with them? The high vibe people in their life are investing love to move it forward in a more emotionally balanced way from love. And the other people don't want to do love. And eventually, the high vibe people in their life see the truth of it, they wish them peace, and they move on. And there'll always be other people who come into their life. It's kind of like God can use everyone for God's good purposes. We all have free will to manifest what we want to manifest. The next group of people come in, here's this person. They present themselves this way. They act this way. Um, are you someone who doesn't like to see the truth about people when they show you the truth of who they are? Okay. Do you want to be loving and encouraging, hoping one day they'll change? Okay. And then at some future point in time, when you realize your dream isn't going to come into reality from love here, then those people will have to decide, is this my truth or isn't? And they have the free will to keep staying invested in it or not. And I think ultimately the more shadowy people will have other people who are more emotionally immature, who are more maybe about the codependency or the status or the image and looking victorious and successful in some way. And they've decided that's their truth. And that would be a just and fair relationship. It's just they might be in a relationship, both of them, with people they don't love, but they don't really do love anyway. So it's kind of having sex with people that you're in a relationship with because of the image and the status, and more because of your fear, your insecurity, your want for these things, you keep moving forward in it because you're more emotionally invested in looking like you've healed, you've grown, you've matured, you've moved on. Look how victorious and successful you look. But it's not really based in truth. Again, it's just an illusion. And I think those people are always afraid that's building a false foundation. If you want to build a solid foundation, it has to be built on truth and love. Otherwise, it's always afraid. What if someone else comes along? I'm trying to keep this person in this relationship because I want it for the reasons I want it. But I'm always afraid, what if someone comes along who has more money, status, image, power, more fear, more insecurity, more willing to indulge them? Depending on what it is that people like, more codependent, requires less of them, then those people would probably, hey, oh my gosh, there's someone else. Bye. Sorry, gotta go. But it really wasn't love anyway, right? And then they could blame those people. The whole thing is just to see that so long as we're kind of more motivated by things of the world, we're probably going to get in relationships with people who are more motivated by things of the world. And we can't change the world. The only person we can change is me. And we can all struggle with letting go of some of those jobs, friendships, or relationships because it could look really good by worldly standards and there's a lot of things we like about it and there could be love there, but what are we willing to sacrifice? Some people aren't willing to sacrifice their truth and love, and other people are. So there you go, Cancer. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.